Hello, welcome to Savannah Knits. This is my knitting podcast where I talk all about the things that I'm knitting that are bringing me joy. My name is Savannah and I live in Utah in the United States with my husband and our 2 little boys, and I like to knit and read in my spare time. I also like to ask you guys a question of the day so I can get to know you as the viewer better. So today's question is, what are you excited for in 2025? It could be something you're excited to knit, something you're excited to do or accomplish, anything like that. I just want to know what your excitement and aspirations are for 2025. We have a regular podcast episode today. I have 2 finished objects to maybe breeze by because I did talk about these a little bit in my Everything I Knit in 2024 video. And then I have 3 new works in progress that you guys haven't seen before. So that's what I'm most excited about, and that's probably where I'll spend most of this time that we have together. I also want to say thank you to everyone who has commented and liked and just watched the Everything I Knit in 2024 video. It was so fun to put together, and I'm really glad that it has been received well and that you guys seem to be enjoying it and getting some inspiration for your knits. I have been watching a lot of other ones, and there is not enough time in this world to knit everything I want to knit because there's just so many good patterns and good yarns out there, but we do what we can. It's not a race. Just enjoy our craft in the moment. But I just wanted to say thank you for watching that and interacting with it, even though it was a very long video. I can't believe it was that long. My first finished object are my Christmas Gumdrop socks. That's what I'm calling them. They're just basic socks, 64 cast on. I'll pop up a picture because they're in the laundry right now, so I can't show them to you in person. But I did 2.25 millimeter needles, ruby and roses, soft rose base in the color Gumdrops. And these are the socks that I mentioned that kind of reminded me of Wicked because of the pink and the green colors, but they are patterned after Christmas Gumdrops. And as I said, I just did my basic sock pattern that works for me, and they're great fit. I love the colors so much. I wanted these done for Christmas, and I was able to finish them a couple days before Christmas so I could have them blocked and ready, and wore them for the first time on Christmas morning, and it made my heart very happy. Absolutely love them. I've worn them so much since then. Yeah, you just can't beat a basic sock with a beautiful variegated yarn. It's my favorite. It took me almost 3 weeks to make these, December 2nd to December 20th. I did a 4-inch leg, 15 rows of 2x2 rip. And I'm looking down at my notes a lot because this feels like a long time ago that I finished these. But yeah, these are the Christmas Gumdrop socks. My next finished object is what I'm wearing. Probably in the top, definitely in the top 3 of what I made last year. Maybe even the top 2, maybe even my favorite. I love this sweater so much. This is my Hibernate Pullover by Amy Sher. I did this in 4 millimeter needles in Capella Luna Fibers Simple DK in the color Fairy, which is, it looked like a tonal in the skein, but when I knit it up, it definitely is more variegated with lighter greens and darker greens together. And I did alternate skeins on this project so that I could make sure to get an equal distribution of all the color. And I think it turned out really well. And I don't mind alternating skeins. It does get tangled a little bit sometimes if I'm not paying attention, but if I keep on top of it, just switching my skeins around as needed, it's totally fine. So yeah, I made a size C, and the last time I was working on the sleeves for this sweater. So I finished the sleeves, did my, I think 2 inches of 2x2 ribbing. And then what I love about this sweater is that it's just a normal knit bind off. There's no tubular bind off, which I love a tubular bind off. I think it looks amazing. And I'm also a bit of a rule follower, and that if the pattern says to do a tubular bind off, that's what I will do because the pattern tells me to. But this one said just a knit bind off, and I think because it's 2x2 ribbing, right, so that's a little bit harder to do a tubular bind off with 2x2 ribbing. And most of the patterns that I've done recently have had a tubular or Italian bind off, and I forgot how fast a knit, just a regular knit bind off is. It was so quick and so satisfying, and honestly, I think it looks absolutely fabulous with this sweater and everything. I also was debating whether to follow the pattern. I just said that, like, if the pattern tells me to do it, I will do it. The pattern tells you to block this sweater before you pick up stitches and do the neckband. And I was debating whether or not to follow that. I didn't really see the point in doing it that way, unless blocking made a huge difference in how many stitches you would pick up to make sure that it lies flat. However, in the pattern, there is a set number of stitches to pick up per section. So, you know, this many stitches for the raglan, this many stitches for the shoulder, this many stitches for the back and the left front and the left right, and so on. And so I didn't understand how blocking would change that if I'm still going to be picking up the same number of stitches per section. And I have never blocked a sweater just for the purpose of then picking up stitches for the collar and the neckband, and I just didn't want to. So I ended up not blocking it in between, and I just picked up stitches for the collar, and I think it turned out great. I don't see any difference. I feel very happy with the result. I did add a couple of extra rows to the neckband. Let's see, I added 4 rows just to have some extra coverage for me, and I love it. I think it's the perfect length. It lays perfectly flat. I love the 2x2 ribbing, and I love the regular knit cast off. I think it gives it a little bit of structure and a little bit of cool detail that I really like. It's just, I think I'm becoming a fan of the knit cast off, the regular bind off, but obviously I will not do it if a pattern tells me to bind off a different way. And there is something to be said about having that extra stretchiness of a Italian or tubular bind off. But I just made sure to do my bind offs really loosely, really relaxed, and I have found the sweater to be perfectly fine with how it is. There's no tightness in the hem or the neckband or the sleeves. So yeah, I'm just very happy with it. I especially love the fit of this sweater. I had a hard time picking sizes, so I did size down a little bit to a size C because I know that this is a superwash yarn, so I knew that it would grow, and I am so glad that I did. It was looking a little wonky when I finished it, I think mostly from the 2x2 rib. Obviously 2x2 rib opens up a ton when you block it, and it bloomed beautifully in blocking. It became the perfect size. I definitely knit the sleeves a little bit shorter knowing that they would grow, and they did, and I just blocked it to the measurements that I wanted the sweater to be, and the fit is absolutely amazing. I could not ask for a better fitting sweater. I love it so much. I wear it at least twice a week since I finished it. I think there was a stretch that I wore it 3 days in a row because I was so obsessed with it, and I've always wanted that green v-neck sweater. It's something that I've looked for when shopping for myself, and I've never really found anything that I liked, and it's very empowering and very exciting to make that for myself, and I can't ask for more. So yeah, definitely one of my favorites of last year, of all time, you name it. I started this on December 8th and I finished it on the 24th of December, so it took me 2 weeks and 2 days, which is mega fast. We were also sick in December, so that helped with my knitting because we were just relaxing and watching movies for most of December, recovering. So I got a ton of knitting done on this, and I haven't had a in the round stockinette project for a while and it flew by. I forgot how fast I could knit in the round and stockinette. It was exhilarating. So overall, it was a wonderful project. The pattern is absolutely incredible. I never had any questions on what to do except for the blocking in between, but that was just more of a personal choice, not anything to do with the clarity of the pattern or anything like that. Although I would have appreciated maybe some clarification on why you'd have to block it mid-project. But with the compound raglan of the v-neck, so simple, so laid out so well. I feel like a beginner could definitely do this sweater, and it made me want to knit more Amy Shure patterns. So that's a win for the pattern. I also love the yarn very, very much. And overall, 10 out of 10 on this project. Let's move on to WIPs. So exciting. So my first one is the birthday cupcake socks, which are these. These are from Charlotte Stone's Joyful Colorwork Socks. She also goes by Stone Knits. And if you remember, my mom saw me talking about these in a video of mine, maybe in the fall. This book was gifted to me by Page Street Publishing, so it was probably when I was reviewing the book for the podcast. And she saw these socks, and me and my mom have an inside joke about cupcakes. And she got me the yarn for my birthday, which was so nice of her. So I already have a finished sock. Let me put it on a sock blocker real quick. Obviously, I have not woven in the ends, and because this is a lighter yarn, you may be able to see the blue sock blocker, but that's okay. So yeah, here's my sock. Isn't it beautiful? So yes, my mom got me this yarn for my birthday, which was last month. The white is Cascade Heritage, let's see, in Snow. And then the rest of them are all Universal Yarns, Uni Merino. Yes, Uni Merino. They're just these tiny little skeins of yarn, which I didn't even know they sold like tiny little skeins. Perfect for colorwork socks. So she got me this pink, which is the color Romance. The blue is Sea Glass, and the red is Red Wagon. And I think it looks so good. It was my first time doing the little stripe of color here on the cuff. That was really fun to do. I really enjoyed that. And then this is also my first time doing a colorwork sock by Charlotte Stone, and she has a different method from Summer Lee, who I have knit colorwork sock from before. With Charlotte's, she has you increase a lot of stitches here for the colorwork as well as going up in needle size. And I think she said to go up to a 2.5 millimeter, and I did a 2.75 because that was the only mini circular size that I had. And I really like that there's so many stitches that you increase here, because there is every chance that you will be able to fit it over your heel with the colorwork being tighter. So I really appreciated that, and honestly I might do that to more colorwork socks in the future, especially if they're by Summer Lee, because I found that even just going up in needle size wasn't enough. I'd have to knit really, really loosely, and it's just uncomfortable for me to knit that loosely. But if I knit colorwork normal with going up in needle size, with increasing a bunch of stitches, I'd be able to do this. So really a big fan of that. I did a contrasting toe and a contrasting heel, and I thought that it would distract from the cupcake colorwork, but I think it ties it in together more to have color throughout the sock. So I really like that aspect of it. I did a 64 stitch cast on 2.25 millimeter needles. I did a 5-inch total leg from the cuff to the heel, and then I just did my own way of doing the basic socks, which is technically Summer Lee's way. Charlotte Stone has a different way to start the decreases and different way to arrange them on your needles, and like a beginning of round marker, and I don't really like to fuss with any of that, so I just did my normal way of doing the heel flap and gusset. And she also has a different method of doing her toe, but I just followed Summer Lee's method of doing the toe. So I basically used this pattern for this part of the sock, and then the little color work portion right there, and then did my own way for the rest of it. Someday I'll get brave enough to try a different method and see if I like that better, but I just didn't want to mess with what I know that I like this time around. So yeah, I have a finished sock so far. I haven't blocked it yet or woven in the ends, and then I'm working on the second sock right now, and I'm a good way through. I have done the color work, and I have done the heel, and I have done the gusset decreases. So I'm just working on the foot, and then that little bit of color work by the toe, and then the contrasting toe, and these will be done. And I'm very, very excited to wear them. I am a little bit worried that they might get dirty with it being such a light color as the main color, but I love them anyways, and I will still wear them so much if they get dirty. And I'm one of those people that just throws my socks in the washing machine and the dryer because superwash, and I don't want to hand wash my socks all the time because I wear them almost every day. So I think just a wash in the laundry would be fine for these. So yeah, these are my birthday cupcake socks, and I would really love to have these finished by the next podcast episode. My next WIP is one that I am most excited for. I am making the Arctic Light Sweater by Veronica Lindenberg, or Kutovakika, and this is one that I've been wanting to make for so long, like ever since I first started knitting. And I've mentioned this before, that I've tried it before and I didn't like the yarns that I chose, and I didn't feel like I was truly ready for a lot of cables in this sweater. But this sweater right now is a case of right time, right yarn, everything is lining up to make this sweater, and I could not be happier. I am using a 5mm needle to make this sweater, 3.25mm for the ribbing, and I am using Drops Lima and Drops Kid Silk, both in the color Chalk, which is similar to the pattern sample photo that you see. She uses, I think it's a Sadness Garden yarn. It might be Pure Gint. I can't remember, but that one is named Chalk. So this is just a more budget-friendly version of it. I love Drops Lima. This is my first time using Drops Kid Silk as a mohair, and it is very fluffy and sheds a little bit, but I'm really loving the softness of it. I find it soft, at least. I know other people do not, but I'm also not picky with wools. I will show you what I have so far. I am making a size large for myself. This is what I have. Oh my goodness, it looks so good on camera. I love it. I could stare at this all day, and I often do because I have been knitting on it like crazy, as you can see. I started this on Christmas. This was my Christmas cast on. I got the yarn for Christmas, yeah, and it was lovely because my boys were playing with their new toys, and I was able to swatch for this, and it was such a magical experience of getting the yarn for Christmas, immediately swatching, and immediately casting on that day. It was just beautiful. And I am in love with the result. There are a lot of cables, as you can see, but I can say now where I'm at, I do not even have to look at the chart. It becomes intuitive. It's really spelled out, and really the chart is laid out beautifully. The instructions are very clear. So it's one of those knits that looks more complicated than maybe it is. It also is a very easy in the fact that there is no crazy shaping to this sweater. It is a raglan that you increase on every section, on every round. So the sleeves do look a little big because you're increasing the same amount as the body. So that will be interesting to see how big they are when this is done, but that's okay. I am totally fine if this sweater is not fitting as well as it could be because there are no short rows, there's no compound raglan or anything. It's just a straight raglan. Uncomplicated, simple in that aspect of it, and so I'm not expecting this to fit fantastically, but I have tried it on and I am loving how it's fitting so far. I think the armhole depth is great. I think the collar is great because there's no short row shaping. It does come up quite a bit, so it feels more like a turtleneck, and I was a little bit worried about that with the drops mohair, but I don't find it itchy or scratchy at all. It's very soft, very fuzzy, very much love it. The pattern does say so you start with the collar on this pattern and you knit it, and then she recommends you just go straight into the body and sew down the collar later, and I am not about sewing at all, so I just knit down the collar when I got to that point before I started the body, and I'm really happy that I did that because it's giving the sweater a more polished and finished look that I really enjoy, and it's really nice to knit the sweater and not have to go back and do the collar after you're done with the body or the sleeves. It's just nice to know that that's done, and all I have to do is finish the body, finish the sleeves, and then I'm done. It's very, very nice, and it is very motivating actually. So yeah, you've got this big cable in the middle, you've got some knits and purls, and you've got some bobbles right here, you got another cable right there, and then you have some double seed stitch on the edges. And then with the sleeve, there is the one big cable in the middle, and then you have this twisted stitch cable going down like this. So as I said, I casted this on Christmas, and it has been a week and a half, and I have already split for the sleeves. So if that doesn't tell you, I am obsessed with this. I can't stop knitting it. It goes by very fast because I just want to get to the next cable row and keep on going. I also had quite a bit of time to knit this because me and my husband went away for a couple of nights for our anniversary, and I took this and knit so much of it while watching TV. So yeah, and it also has good memories of that little trip with him. So yeah, this is my Arctic light, and we'll see how much I can get done between now and the next podcast, and I'm guessing a lot because I am obsessed with this. I have one more work in progress to show you. I'm doing the Woolly Giants Cowl by Mary P. Hunt. I am doing this on a 3.75 millimeter for the colorwork and 3.25 millimeter for the ribbing. I am using Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia organic merino in the color pearl and mahogany. And what I loved about this is that this looks like actual mammoth fur because of all of the depth. There's lots of different shades of brown and red in there, maybe even lighter browns as well, and it just looks like mammoth fur. Also, I am obsessed with mammoths. I love them so much. And we went to a natural history museum over the holiday break, and they had these animatronic mammoths there that were new, and I loved them so much, and I was so inspired. So I came home and cast this cowl on. I've been wanting to make it for a while, and I just needed that extra nudge, and very excited to be making it now. I'm not very far. This is definitely going to be more of a long-term WIP. It is not the easiest to knit in the fact that there is a lot of long stretches of color work. So it's not like a sock where you're repeating the chart every 10 stitches. It has long chart width, and you're repeating it twice, so one side has the mammoth and the other side has the same mammoth, but it's still quite a lot of stitches. I'll show you what I have so far. Again, you can't tell what it is at all, but you can see how the colors are coming together, and it does look really good. And I love that brown yarn. It looks so good. So yeah, I haven't worked on this a ton, as I said, but I'm hoping to work on more of this maybe after the Arctic light, because that sweater is taking over my life. But this one is fun. There's no rush to finish this. I am also not even going to be using it as a cowl. I am making this to frame it to then display it in my living room. My living room has a lot of browns, and I love woolly mammoths, and I've wanted to display something that I have made in my living room. And I don't really want to knit a pillow or a blanket because my kids will destroy it and stain it. So I thought if I made a woolly mammoth cowl but then frame it, it will be safe from them, hopefully. And I know that that sounds a little weird, but knitting is supposed to bring me joy. That is my goal forever and always. And every time I look at this framed cowl, I will feel joy, both that it is a mammoth and that I made it. So that's the plan. So there's no rush to get this finished before the end of winter. It's just whenever I want to work on it, I will work on it, which is strange for me because usually I'm a very get things done kind of person. And if I start a project, I'm gonna finish it within a month or two, or it will drive me crazy. But I'm trying to expand and trying to test myself and see if I can just have this longer term WIP to come back to whenever I'd like. So not much more to say on this. I started it on December 27th, so I've been working on it for about a week, a little bit more than a week, and we'll see how much I get done. I will add stitch markers to all of my projects that I've shown today, all of my WIPs, so that we can see progress as we go along. And yeah, that's my Woolly Giants cowl. I also want to mention that she has a crochet version of this cowl as well, and a lot of her patterns are really, really cool. She has some dinosaur colorwork things. I don't know if she has a cowl, but I know she has a dinosaur colorwork sweater. Just very niche colorwork things that are different from what I've seen. So definitely check out her page on Ravelry because there's a lot of cool stuff that she has. A little bit of a shorter episode today, but I wanted to give a update because I've been knitting a ton and I didn't want to get too behind before I did another podcast episode. I do have a lot of acquisitions. I usually buy a lot of my yarn at the end of the year around Christmas time to set up for the next year, and I have gotten some sweater quantities, but I'm not going to show them today because I am planning on making a 2025 video about my Make 9, some other projects I want to get to, and some goals, and it would be great to just show you the yarn that I have in mind for those specific projects, and I don't want to do that twice. And also I'm waiting on some yarn that is supposed to get here soon, but I don't know if anyone else has had this problem in the United States, but USPS keeps sending things in crazy directions recently. Came to Utah and then went back to Oregon. So we'll see when it gets here. I'm hoping to make that video this month, so keep a watch out for that. That reminds me to remind you to subscribe to my channel if you have liked this episode today. And thank you and welcome to all the new subscribers that I have gotten in the past couple weeks from my last video. Also, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Savan Knits. I keep Ravelry very updated, so if you have any further questions about projects that I've knit in the past or I'm knitting now, feel free to check that out or send me a message on Instagram or my email or anything. All of it is in the description. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you guys are knitting what is bringing you joy, and I will see you next time. Bye.